What's up, guys? John back with another video, and today I'm going to react to the Olympics opening ceremony. Um, I just want to kind of give my thoughts. Like, these are solely just my thoughts from watching it. My wife told me, "Hey, let's go watch it," and I think this is kind of like, I didn't really want to, but I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And from what I've seen online, it was supposed to be very cool because it's on the river. It's kind of like one of a kind type of um, opening ceremony. I think it's never been done before, and it's kind of like done outside of a stadium, which is, I thought it was really cool. Um, and I enjoyed the concept of it at first. So when we watched it, I was like, okay, they had some performers that are probably not globally known, and they're local performers from France, which I thought was kind of cool to kind of showcase their culture, their art. And at first I was like, pretty impressed by the magnitude of what they did. And the fashion, all that is okay. I kind of think that this is kind of like entertainment, so it makes sense that they have like stars and entertainers kind of come out and showcase their style, which is fine. It's just one of those things that everyone just comes together and just has a good time, right? So, as and I like that, enjoy the concept. I'm going to cover some just the highlights that I think really irked me. Really, I felt like it really wasn't, um, I would say, tasteful for the global community. And I was just kind of bewildered by what was presented. I do like certain concepts of it, and I'll go through some of them. And one of them was the torchbearer. It kind of looked like that video game that my brother plays. I'm not a video game guy, but the torchbearer, the faceless guy running around Paris on the rooftop, that was kind of cool, and it showcased the art, and combined with some technology and CGI, all that stuff. So that was really cool, and I thought that it was really well made. I also enjoyed like the performances by some of the um, global artists like Celine Dion, right? Like, how can you not like her? It was an impressive performance. Um, I do like that it focused on one part of the river for the main stage, which is the bridge, and then they had the athletes kind of go underneath the bridge on the boats, which I think that was really well done. I also thought that the dancers were, I don't even know how you can dance for like 4 hours, but they did it. The dancers were dancing on the street. That was impressive. Although, I'm not exactly sure what kind of dancing that was. It kind of looked like artistic kind of interpretation of dance, which is fine. All that is fine, and I think I appreciate that as well. And I definitely love the Eiffel Tower in the background. That totally made it like Paris-ish to me. So I have some notes on here on my phone that I wanted to kind of cover, that really I felt that wasn't kind of appropriate, or at least Olympic appropriate. Okay, the first one is, since I live in Korea, the big issue was the announcers saying the name of Korea. I think they said something like the Democratic Republic of Korea, which is North Korea, and it's supposed to be like the Republic of South Korea, right? So I think they kind of got that wrong. I'm not sure, because there's tons of media outlets out there. Of course, there are some that said the right name, but then now we have President Yoon, the president of South Korea, demanding an apology from the Olympic Committee for mispronouncing the country's name, which I think it shouldn't happen, because you have 4 years to prepare for this opening event that is 4 hours long. And if you cannot even get the countries' names correctly, I mean, that's something that I think the Olympic Committee has to review and has to kind of reevaluate, right? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me at all. Okay, the second thing that I thought was really kind of irritated me was there were multiple scenes, and then I think, I was watching this with my wife. Obviously my son is too young to watch, but I'm kind of imagining from other families who have older children watching this. There's a lot of um, same-sex kind of stuff like on the screen. I don't want to say it, but I mean it it kind of, as a child or as a parent, you're watching this, and then you're watching along with your child, and you see stuff like this, right? The three people in the library, and then stuff happened, as well as the on the bridge, the fashion show, which showcased a bunch of you know um, let's just say unique fashion. My wife, who's South South Korean, she couldn't understand like why there was a guy wearing a dress with a beard, right? I mean, that's just kind of weird. How do you explain that to a child who's watching? And I'm not saying anything like, oh, it's homophobic or whatever. You guys can kind of make your own opinion on that. But the point is, this is like a global audience. Do we want to make it okay? Like, is this okay for young people, children to look at and see and say this is normal, right? And a lot of people will argue like, oh, nowadays it is, or people can wear whatever they want, or blah blah blah, right? Um, and so that's one issue that I had with it. The third one was the depiction of the Last Supper, and there was this woman, female, a large woman with I think she was a DJ or something. Maybe she's a famous DJ. I'm not sure. But they were depicting the image of Last Supper, and I understand, like, France, their history with like religion and art and all that stuff, is all connected. But I think there should have been a better way of doing it. I feel like if you're gonna, you don't need to bring that into context. That's what my point is. Like, there's other ways of doing your version of it without actually like bringing, like, I just felt like it wasn't necessary. Like, you can do your own thing, So that was that was the thing that I felt like that was kind of, I would say, I guess it was a little bit disrespectful for Christians, because that is a very famous painting and moment in that history, and now you're turning it into pretty much a spectacle. So that was my gripe with it. And number four, I think, was pretty much there was a lot of random stuff going on. So it was a lot of jump cuts of, okay, while the fashion show was going on, now you're going to like the street performers, or then some other stuff going on, and then all the while I was like wondering, so what's going on with the announcing for the countries, and I'm, it's not, and bringing back to the announcements, South Korea wasn't the only country that was, I guess I guess kind of offended, because there was many countries that they showed on video that they were saying like the country's name, but they were showing a different, like, group of athletes. So that happened multiple times during the procession of the athletes, and I thought that kind of brought away from the actual introduction of the athletes, which is the main focus. And it was just too much going on outside of the main purpose of the ceremonies, which is kind of celebrating the athletes there, and it brought too much attention to something else, which is like Paris. So I think they needed to kind of balance that out a little bit better. So that kind of irritated me a little bit. So and truthfully, I didn't watch the whole thing. I was just kind of like wondering when it was gonna finish. That was it. Like I was just kind of like wondering, when is this gonna end? It was kind of long, and then my wife continued to watch it, and then she was just saying like, okay, now, after you went to sleep, the head Olympic guy gave a speech for like, I don't know, a very long time, and it was just kind of boring. So all of this I felt like was not worth staying up for, because it was literally in the middle of the night in South Korea to watch. So that's kind of like my gripe with the opening ceremonies. Let me know, guys, what you guys think of that. Am I wrong, or do you guys agree with me, disagree with my views on it? But like again, this is my personal opinion, and I just felt like uncomfortable watching it. Not even if I didn't have a kid, I would still feel the same, because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't really agree with what kind of message they were showing on the screen, and it wasn't very interesting to me, to be honest. It was just a lot of randomness, and it was just more like an art show, kind of like a lot of artistic stuff going on. I'm not sure if there's any meaning behind it, and I'm pretty sure there is. Like the minion thing, I didn't understand why they had minions, but then like my wife searched it and they found out that the director was French. So okay, fine. No, it kind of makes sense. But still, it's kind of random, because it doesn't really match with the Olympic theme. So a lot of things kind of happen like that. There's a lot of like French connection with entertainment, but at the same time, it had nothing to do with Olympics. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what was the purpose of that? Like, and it's kind of like bringing away from the focus, which is the Olympics. So let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree, and what was your favorite moment of the opening ceremony. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See!